This is the required documentation checklist for Chase's short sale information package. It's almost identical to their deed in lieu package. And for most banks, it's substantially similar. They want to know what your asset picture is. They want to know why maybe it changed. They want to know what your hardship is. And this is their collection department. So in other states, or for poorly advised people in California, this might be a little bit of a head start for them to try to collect. Now, I can tell you, all my clients are aware of what the downside is. And I can tell you, if you have 2 loans, we have to be very careful. If you have 1 loan and you're willing to accept a foreclosure, for most of you, after a foreclosure, a non-judicial one that is, so you want to monitor, but after a non-judicial foreclosure, the bank will not be able to come after you for the money. And this is not as ironclad, but it's good because case law from 2023, the IRS should not be able to tax you after a non-judicial foreclosure. That's not necessarily true for a short sale, especially with recourse loans. So you definitely want to talk to an attorney, whether you're doing a short sale or deed in lieu. But my point here is I want to show you the major difference. So you're going through this, whether it's a short sale or a deed in lieu, the standard ones are going to do that. And then you're getting to this part. Where's the document? Did I go? Oh, yeah, here it is. From your real estate agent. This is the documentation they want you to provide on a short sale. They want the listing agreement. So they want to see the price you listed the home at. They want a detailed listing history. So this can see whether you're playing games. Like, did you make it low? Did you have offers come in and then you just sent them in? Or do you start off high and try to bring it down over time to find where the market is? So if you have time, you can set up this whole process much better. So again, I would talk to an experienced person, myself, before you even start the short sale, because you can set up for success early. So talk to someone while you're current, talk to an attorney, go to underwaterrealestate.com and get a free consult. Talk to us because you can set up your success better and have a better downside and protect and not worry about taxes and not worry about going after the bank if you do this right. Now, the next thing they're going to ask is the purchase contract. So they're going to see the offer. Then they want comparables. They'll still send out an appraiser, but this is sort of like a threshold thing. They want to see if you're trying to waste their time. And then the HUD. This is the closing statement. This is what we used to call it. Many people don't call it that now in California. But this shows the bank what the net proceeds, what their net proceeds will be. So they agree if the short sale gets approved, they'll have terms you have to agree to, and then they'll give instructions to the escrow people, and they're going to say, we will accept this much money provided, and they'll say the purchase price was this. The realtors will get this. And they might even tell escrow how much they can take. But they're going to look at the expenses, and they're going to see their final net. They're going to agree to their final net. And then they'll say, in this circumstances, we'll release our liens against the property so the buyers can purchase this property. That's how a short sale works. But I want you to note, they'll be fully aware of what those net proceeds are, and they're going to send you a 1099 amount out for the amount that they calculate they are shorted. And for some people, that can be income unless you can exclude it. Everyone's going to get the 1099-C. The IRS gets a 1099-C when you do a short sale. But that amount of money can hammer you on your taxes unless you know how to exclude it. Why is this so different? Why is this harder in case you're a realtor or you remembered? The Mortgage Debt Forgiveness Act went into effect in 2007. It expired December 31st, 2025. So everything is different now. You have to know what you're doing. And I'm not even trying to scare you. I mean, we had a deed in lieu approved last month with Chase while my client was current. So we can still do things. You just have to do them right. And let me remind you what that current means. That means her credit report did not suffer 30 or 60 or 90-day lates. That means we are able to negotiate the final remark on her credit. After a short sale, they know you're short. They're going to send out a $100,000 1099-C or whatever the amount they're shorted is. They're going to put on your report. And every realtor negotiated short sale I've ever encountered, on the final report in California, it says something to the effect that settled for less than the full amount. Now, I know California law says it's supposed to be paid in full. That's what it goes back to under 580E, but the banks still get that settled for less than full amount in there in one way or another. So the short sale, you have to know that's how they happen. The beauty of a deed in lieu is that there is no listing agreement price. There is no purchase of sale where the price is there. And there is no loss of 5 to 6% to the realtor fees and another 1 or 2% of closing costs. So you can see why to the bank, they might, when working with their investor, have more flexibility on this. They might even say the property is worth about $1 million. I mean, I help explain that in our deed in lieus. And, if we can say it's close, we're going to say it's close. Now, the one other thing is, so all that's the basic idea. Here's my deed in lieu. Here's my package. Accept it. Now, I'm going to tell you that in my experience, there's a few things extra you need to know about the deed in lieu and a short sale. The bank is very concerned about your credibility of the deal. They don't want to look stupid. They don't want the wool pulled over their eyes. I will tell you, just when we started this deed in lieu, about maybe it was 2 months ago now, they usually take a week to get the file together, to image it and say that, you're authorized to negotiate on behalf of the seller and or the owner. And for some reason, when I called back after a week, she goes, "Oh yeah, you're on the file," and she read off my middle name. I never gave them my middle name, so they're keeping track, right? They know who your representative is, who's negotiating for you. So that's an important detail. It's why over time, some people can get short sales done and loan mods done with some banks much faster than other people. Because, for instance, after we did a few with many banks, they moved us up. They escalated us automatically into different departments where our things were worked on more quickly. And I can tell you, I told my client many times, I said, I don't know how long this will take. I don't know if it's approved, but if I can get this escalated to someone who knows, our chances of success go up dramatically. Well, we got escalated the third week. And I talked to someone with 15 years experience, and I explained why their investors should do this deal. It was all written in there. I leveraged California law. I explained in California, because these people are in New York. They don't know California law. They're still thinking that it's like Florida, where they can go after the people for the deficit afterwards because it's recourse loans. And I was explaining, this is a non-recourse situation here. So you're not going to be able to go after her for the deficiency. And I explained the IRS, because they're following California law on this one, they're not going to go after her for the 1099-C. There's no cancellation of debt income tax. So really, my client is doing your client a favor by getting this property back now instead of a year from now. They're going to not lose all those payments for a year. They're not having to watch a market that's already slowing down be down another 7 or 10% next year. So I'm like, so my client is really what we're offering. What's on the table here is her credit against this close to $200,000 benefit for your investor. And that could be like 10 to 15% of the loan. So why wouldn't you take this asset back now? And, there was more of a back and forth than that in the beginning. But when I got to that point, he actually said what he really did with Chase, that Chase did have authority to negotiate this. And he said, I will talk to that person with authority. And what seemed like an hour turned into probably really 20 minutes. He came back and said, we'll accept your deed in lieu. So that is an ideal situation. Not going to happen every time. But this is why you might want to talk to an attorney before you begin the process, particularly if you want to remain current while you at least start the negotiation. But I really want you to know, I'm not saying this is going to happen for you every time. In my experience, after deed in lieus in the beginning, I remember most of them being accepted, but some being rejected. I remember sometimes my clients had to be 1 month late. They're like, we'll do it, but your client's going to be 1 month late. We did have to negotiate over the final terms that were on their credit all the time, and we did not always get the remark we wanted. Then my client had to make decisions. And sometimes we'd go back later and we get what we wanted. There were also, as time went on, more and more banks said, we're not doing deed in lieus anymore. We're only doing short sales. So that could happen. So I really don't want people to come in here with the wrong expectation. This is an opener. This is like, you've really got a great situation going, and different people in different positions are also going to be more likely to get their deed in lieus done. So if you want more information, go to underwaterrealestate.com. Currently, I've contemplated, if I'm going to do marketing, I contemplated a $97 review or our $1,000 walkaway package that stems off into deed and lieu or short sales like they used to. And then if you did the short sale, I'd refund the money. But and if this marketing works, I will do that. But at the moment, I'm offering a free consult to see if you're a good fit for our program. And then I'll also talk to you about what your goals and needs are, and really whether I'd advise you about whether I would do this, considering the costs and the timing, or whether you should just go for a short sale. And for people with recourse loans, you might also even have to consider foreclosure. So we're going to talk about all that in our consult. Thanks. My name is John McConnon, underwaterrealestate.com. I'm an attorney and a broker in California. And the final thing is, yes, the California Association of Realtors had me train realtors on how to list, negotiate, and sell short sales. And if you're a realtor, we are building on our network now. You can go to our website and see how you can become an underwaterrealestate.com certified agent.